Hey guys, my name's Jonathan Reich. I'm a licensed CPA. And because I'm a licensed CPA, I help a ton of my small business clients pay their bills, manage their accounts receivables, generate financials, tax forms, payroll tax forms, all kinds of stuff. If it deals with money, I probably touch it. It comes across my desk. And so, because of all those different things, I'm always trying to find a way to automate things out, to save time, to do this, to do that, so I don't actually have to do it. Does that make me sound lazy? Probably, but that's okay. So, one of the biggest things that we can do to help save time with a lot of small businesses is to save time on them paying their bills. And so, what that looks like is does your platform automate? Does it allow you to do something called batch payments? So, batch payments are not anything new. It's basically to where you can send out, 15 invoices to the same vendor, or you can do a batch payment run and you can have all these bills to 10 different vendors entered at once, and then they all go out in one go. Your account's debited, and everybody gets their money. And so batch payments really help save a ton of time whenever you're paying, I don't know, a couple hundred invoices a month, or heck, even 50 invoices a month. And so it's really important that your bill pay platform provider offers this service. So what am I looking for whenever I issue batch payments in the software? We're going to go through 6 softwares today, some of the ones that I've used in the past, and the do's and don'ts, and what I like and what I don't like. But the first thing is I want to make sure that there is a review and approval process in place. Like, I don't want the bookkeeper sending out 50 invoices without the manager or the business owner at least taking a look. So there needs to at least be some type of workflow to where the accountant or the bookkeeper can submit it and then send it through. Can we import a ton of documents at once? Can I scan? Can I take, my big stack of mailed in envelopes, open them up, put them on my scanner, do 50 pages at once, scan it into a PDF, push it into Melio, push it into QuickBooks, push it into Bill, and then have OCR read it, put it to the correct vendor, the correct amount. Or can I do like a CSV that has, if somebody emailed me a statement, can I take a CSV, upload it to the platform? It has the dates, the amounts, what was purchased, etc. That's going to save a ton of time. The other like end of that coin, the other side of that coin, I should say, coins don't have ends, is can if I'm setting up like a new system, can I do a bulk vendor import? I want to be able to batch almost anything that I'm doing in the platform because if I'm doing it once, I may need to do it 20 times. Payments, how can I pay with my batch processing? Can I pay with a credit card? Does it have to be ACH, wire, um, you know, debit card, stuff like that? Like, are there different ways to pay? What if I want to mail a check to this vendor and I want to ACH this vendor on the same payment run? No big deal. I should be able to do that. First, are there good controls and audit trails? I would hate to, go through, find out that maybe we ran a batch payment and it all hit the wrong vendor because the OCR picked up the wrong vendor name. Can I go back and like look at who was responsible for auditing, who was responsible for uploading, who was responsible for final sign off, etc. And so we need to make sure that a platform has rules-based access. And then the most important thing, actually, there's two of the most important things. One, what's all this going to cost? Is it reasonable or is it going to cost an arm and a leg? If it does cost an arm and a leg, does it save a ton of time? And then the other thing, the biggest thing I preach, does the bill payment system stink to your accounting software of choice? If not, you need to consider parting ways with it because there's no need for you to be exporting CSVs. What's my start date? What's my end date? Missing transactions. Now your bank accounts don't reconcile. There needs to be a two-way sync between the bill pay platform, your accounting software. So those are the things I look for. Let's talk about some of the bill pay platforms that can offer this type of processing to save you time, to save you money, to save you headache. The first one we're going to talk about is Melio. Melio's newer. I really like Melio. It's got a clean user interface. I think it's priced fairly for what you get. It can do accounts receivable. It is capable of batching workflows, so you can select multiple bills across multiple vendors and pay them in one session. Set your payment date to be this Friday. Set it, forget it, click where you want the accounts to come from. I'm sorry, click where you want the funds to come from what account, and that's it. It's like a true batch pay option. And then you can do 20 bills per vendor. And honestly, if you're getting more than 20 bills a week from one vendor, that's pretty impressive. That's a lot of bills. You're spending a lot of money, which means you're hopefully making a lot of money. And then once it's submitted in that batch workflow, it does have an approval that I talked about, to where a second person who has authority can sign off on it. They're pretty user friendly. They're pretty self explanatory overall. Been very, very happy with Melio as someone who's a CPA and deals with all these different platforms. It also will take the guesswork out of tax season. It can connect to tax 1099. So come January, come April, you're able to push all of the 1099 data over to 1099.com. That's the name of the platform. I've used it many times, and that helps take a lot of the guesswork out for tax season. So um, however, I do want to point out, if you are planning on sending a bunch of ACHs, if you're doing a bunch of batch payments, you are probably going to need the unlimited plan here. It's $80 a month. Do pay attention to that. That deal is actually pretty cheap for a lot of these platforms for the perks that you get. This is the big one. But if you're only sending out 50 ACHs a month, or fewer, you can check out some of the other plans, or you can save your annual cost, which is going to bring that price down even further. So for small business AP, Melio's batch, the ability to select different vendors, the ability to have it sent through for approval, the ACHs, and then for it to push over to tax1099.com. All that nice one little package at a reasonable price. Very happy with Melio. Definitely would check those out. Let's talk about QuickBooks. So QuickBooks is native, or I'm sorry, let me start over. Let's talk about QuickBooks Bill Pay. QuickBooks Bill Pay is a different module from QuickBooks itself. So you're going to need to pay for QuickBooks, whatever your premium version of that. I think I pay $50 a month. Most of my clients pay like $70, and then some of my clients are paying this for this premium version here at $275. You need QuickBooks Bill Pay as a separate module in order to use their batch functions. You can load and keep up with your bills in QuickBooks and then push them over to QuickBooks Bill Pay, and you can batch it there. Or you can pay everything out of QuickBooks, print those checks, put them in an envelope, put the address on, put a stamp on, stuff the envelope, seal it, take it to the mailbox. It's kind of a headache. So it shines because lots of people are already used to QuickBooks. They're using that software. That's fine. It's going to sync back between QuickBooks and QuickBooks Bill Pay. But you can select a ton of bills at once. That's the batch processing portion of it. And then schedule payments in one run, similar to Melio. All your vendor records are going to be within your accounting software. You never have to leave the ecosystem. But what I don't like is your approval workflows are a little thinner. It's a little bit more difficult to assign like permissions and roles to make sure that everyone is getting their checks and balances. You don't want your bookkeeper who's in part-time to necessarily send out 50 checks at once without someone at least taking a second glance at it. And so there is a little bit of limitation there. And then vendor onboarding forms like that W-9 that I was just talking about for Melio, you can put a W-9 into the vendor profile within QuickBooks. And I feel like that's about where it stops. Like, they do have some hand holding in tax season, but to really push it to a robust software like Tax 1099, it's not going to happen. So you do have to live with those limitations. The other thing is, it's an Intuit product. Get ready to pay for it. It's not cheap. $275 for the most advanced accounting plan. And then if you want to throw on bill pay, it's not on this screen, but it's going to be an additional cost. And then depending on the types of transactions you're sending out, it's going to be another cost. So Intuit is expensive. So just keep that in mind. The next one I want to talk about is my good friend Bill. Me and Bill go way back. I've known Bill for a long time, formerly known as Bill.com. Bill.com is robust. If it's an AP and you need it, Bill can probably do it, and they'll do it at a reasonable price. So once you start to get to this enterprise custom pricing, I mean, I've seen clients pay anywhere from $500 to $700 a month for Bill.com, but they're sending out over 1,000 invoices a month. So you do have these cheaper options here, not quite as cheap as Melio, in my opinion. So do consider that whenever you are trying to figure out what software you want to use. Price is always important. You're trading your hard-earned dollars for a service, and that service should save you time. But Bill can batch documents up to 200 bills in one go, and then you can do separate payments to the same vendor, or you can do the same vendor getting one lump sum to pay those 200 bills. So it's pretty handy in that regard because I like to see separate payments for separate invoices. I know it creates more lines in the general ledger, but it's a lot easier to reconcile in the bank account. So pick your poison there, but that is a nice little feature. And then Bill will pretty much sync to any accounting platform that you would be using. Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, for instance. They'll sync to the bigger platforms. So that is definitely a plus. Melio syncs to QuickBooks. QuickBooks Bill Pay obviously syncs back to itself, but Bill is going to allow you to have like that key to unlock any accounting software. So I really do like that. If your team lives like in a traditional AP environment to where they're paying hundreds of invoices a month, definitely consider at least Bill or Melio. And if you're in QuickBooks, maybe QuickBooks Bill Pay, but I do feel like it's a little thinner. It's not going to deliver as much, in my opinion. But Bill is super reliable for scale. If you're a mid-sized platform, that client that was sending over 800 to 1,000 invoices a month, I never saw Bill make a mistake. Like, you always think back. It was always in the accounting ledger. There was never any broken connections. It just worked. And so that's why people trust Bill, because it does everything it's supposed to. You have a ton of options. It never breaks. It's reasonably priced. So consider Bill if you are looking to automate and do some batch processing options. Ramp, I like Ramp because it's got a clean user interface. So let's start there. It's user friendly. It's intuitive. There's good reports. Onboarding is pretty simple. Ramp is just a little bit more savvy, in my opinion. So in regards to batch processing for Ramp, you are going to have to get their Plus subscription, and that's $15 a month per user. So if you've got a couple bookkeepers who are entering bills, that does stack up pretty quick, but that's available right here under their accounts payable. You can do batch processing there. But I like Ramp because not only is the user interface smooth, but it's got a lot of different features under its umbrella. It gives you access to corporate cards, receipt capture, bill play. It's all in one place. And so if you have a bunch of like employees who have corporate cards because they're driving company vehicles and they're filling up with gas and they're getting ice and waters for their crews or whatever, Ramp's going to be a good solution to kind of keep everything under one umbrella. It does have OCR for capturing and mapping invoices, and then it can push it to your general ledger. It's also going to be like Bill to where it can sync to just about any platform, and then it does have those custom approvals. You can combine multiple bills for the same vendor into one payment, but Ramp has also added the ability to have like the approval workflows that I mentioned in the past. They're super important. And you can do up to 500 bills in one run. That's a ton of bills. You should almost never like bump that ceiling unless you're just a massive firm or you're not running your accounts payable often enough. The next platform I want to talk about is Tipalti, if I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm mispronouncing it, please forgive me. No one's ever told me how to say it. But Tipalti, to me, is really great for the international space. If you are running your business and you're like maybe in Europe and you're dealing with America, you're dealing with the European Union, you're dealing with Asian countries, Tipalti is going to be your go-to. It is available in 196 countries with 120 currencies. There are different payment engines. You can do local methods, you can do wires, you can even do PayPal. So Tipalti really makes sense if you are managing your AP by, I guess, paying everyone everywhere. In terms of batch processing, I really couldn't find a ton because it's not in my jurisdiction. I deal with local United States businesses. I do have one client that I've worked with in the past who dealt with vendors in Mexico, but we did not unfortunately use Tipalti. However, if you are an international team, Tipalti is definitely going to have the solutions and resources that you're going to want to consider using. I will do some additional research and follow up this video with whether or not they offer that batch processing. I would assume just because they're as big as they are, it just makes sense to me that you would be able to upload a mass amount of invoices and then send those out to your respective vendors in their respective currencies. I can't guarantee that though, just because I've never used the platform. I do know Tipalti specializes in heavy tax rules because there are so many different entities and currencies that they're going out and using across the different countries. And then you're going to have strong like W8, W9. You're going to be able to upload those documents and track those, which will help reduce fire drills come tax season. But really, to me, the system is designed for like mass payouts, different currencies, different vendors, different countries. And so it would just come as a complete and total shock to me if they did not allow batch processing. Unfortunately, just because of like where I am geopolitically, I've never had to use the platform. But just from what I've seen and what I've read about it, that's going to be the case for Tipalti. The final one I want to talk about today is AvidXchange for batch approvals. Avid does allow selecting and approving multiple invoices in one go. And then you also have really good visibility into where the status is here. It's showcased here, processing, cleared, pending approval. So that is something I really like because there's no questions on like where the funds are, where is it in transit to the vendor. You're going to be able to select everything, select your payment date, record it to your general ledger, and push it through to the accounting platform that you're using. The other thing is the supplier network and workflows like approvals. That's going to be built in. AvidXchange is really made for like a mid-market size company. It's quite a bit bigger. It's somewhere like it's a bit bigger than Melio and Bill, in my opinion. If you're using AvidXchange, you're probably either on the international scale, and so you would want to consider using them or Tipalti. But that's for like companies who are probably turning over over $100 million a year. Pricing, you're going to have to book a sales call. That's something I do not appreciate. I like to know what I'm going to be getting, what I'm going to be paying for. I don't want to waste my time meeting with a salesperson in order to figure out what it's going to cost. It should be the same per company. I've said in the past that if I had to meet with a salesperson, it's because I feel like you're about to gouge me for as much as I can pay. I would say AvidXchange is going to be best for mid-sized companies. It's a fit for multi-location contractors, good-sized construction companies that are maybe turning over, $100 million a year, healthcare groups, invoice-heavy operators, folks like that. But overall, it is going to offer those batch solutions just to help streamline operations. If your accounting platform doesn't, or your bill pay platform doesn't, you need to consider how you can work automation into your workflows so that you're able to save time, save money, and save headache. I really recommend, if you're a small size business, checking out Bill, Melio, Ramp. Any of those are going to kind of check the boxes. If you're mid-sized, check out AvidXchange. If you're international, check out Tipalti. But overall, make sure that your platform syncs back to your accounting platform. Make sure that it has batch processing, multiple approval workflows to make sure it's not going to break the budget. Those are some of the things that you need to consider whenever you're trying to pick a bill pay platform provider to save you time, to save you money. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. On to the next one.